Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We head out west to Dodge City, Kansas for an episode of Gunsmoke. This episode from May 28th, 1955. Yeah, Ben Pitcher doesn't like his doctors, but he's dealing with a cow doctor. Well, at least that's what he thinks Doc Adams is.
Gunsmoke. Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
Hey, Mr. Dillon, look who I got with me.
Well, hello, Kitty. Come on in.
I ran into Chester on the street, Matt. He insisted I come along with him.
Well, I'm glad he did.
I mailed them letters and things to the depot, Mr. Dillon.
No, good, Chester.
I took that circular over to Mr. Hightower. He'll print some up in a couple of days.
Oh, good.
That's all you want me to do, ain't it?
Yeah, that's all.
Ain't nothing else you need. I mean, not right now.
No, nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Everything's pretty well took care of, ain't it?
Yeah, everything's fine, Chester, yeah. Mm-hmm. Except for that buzzing in your head.
My head?
Come on, what is it, Chester? Just speak it right out.
Well, thing is, I run into this friend of mine a few minutes ago. I ain't seen him in years. I knowed him a long time ago, way back in the Army.
Oh?
You know how it is.
Well, go on.
Well, see, he's stationed out at Fort Dodge, right here, only 5 miles away. My, just imagine that.
Chester, I got an idea.
Yes, sir?
Look, why don't you ride out and see your friend, huh? Now, you can stay a couple of days if you want. There's nothing for you to do around here.
Well, you think that'd be a good idea?
Well, it's my idea, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it sure is. Well, I better get going then. No use wasting time, is it?
Bye, Chester.
Bye, Miss Kitty. I'll be back in a day or two, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, well, you have a good time, Chester, and leave the door open. It's awful hot in here.
Yes, sir, I will. Goodbye.
So that's why he wanted you here, huh?
Oh, I guess he thought it might help. But he forgot to mention something.
No, what's that?
This dear old friend of his has got a pretty interesting job in the Army.
Yeah, is that so?
Yeah. He's a mess sergeant.
A mess sergeant?
Yeah.
Well, after a couple of days of that, I'll have to go after Chester with a wagon.
You may never see him again.
Yeah.
Marshal Dillon?
Come on in, son.
I'm looking for Doc.
Well, his office is right next door.
I've been there. I've been everywhere.
Oh, you need him bad?
I was sent to fetch him.
Somebody sick?
My pa told me to bring him out to our place.
Well, is it your pa who's sick?
He wants the doc bad, Marshal.
Well, who is your pa, son?
Ben Pitcher.
You Ben Pitcher's boy?
My name's Jerry.
Oh, Jerry, your pa must be pretty sick if he sent for Doc.
I know. He hates doctors. Don't believe in them. But he wants Doc to come, Marshal. He told me I had to find him. Now, I've looked everywhere.
Well, there's a back room at the Dodge house, Jerry. Doc sometimes plays a little poker in there.
Well, thank you, lady. I'll go look.
If you don't find him there, come back and I'll help you, Jerry.
Thanks, Marshal.
Oh, and Jerry,
Yes, sir.
if you do find him, be sure and tell him that I want to see him before he leaves, huh?
I'll tell him, Marshal.
Ah, that's a surprise.
Yeah. I've heard about Ben Pritchard. How he hates doctors.
His wife's just as bad.
I remember he got caught up in a knife fight here in town sometime back and then threatened to kill Doc if he got anywhere near him.
He almost bled to death as a result. You know, there's something wrong about this, Kitty. I think I'll ride out there with Doc.
Good. I'd sure hate to see anything happen to Doc.
Yeah, so would everybody. Except Pitcher.
Sounds funny, doesn't it? May 28, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station. May 28, 1955, Gunsmoke.
How do you like riding in a buggy, Matt? Make you feel important?
Yeah, it sure does, Doc. But the way you drive, I'd feel a lot safer on a horse.
Well, you'll get used to it.
Well, I hope not.
Whoa there. Whoa. I don't see anybody around.
Well, you expect a sick man to be waiting on the porch for you?
Well, I'd expect most anything of Ben Pitcher.
Well, a man can change, Doc.
Oh, change. Not him. Not Pitcher.
We'll soon find out.
What are you doing here, Marshal?
I came along to keep Doc company, Miss Pitcher.
Oh,
Ma'am?
where's the boy?
Jerry said to tell you he'd be along directly.
Why didn't he come with you?
Well, he said that you gave him a list of stuff to buy while he was in town.
Oh, forgot.
We're wasting time. Where's Ben, Mrs. Pitcher?
He's out back.
He's out back?
In the barn.
What's he doing in the barn?
You ask him, Doc. I don't interfere in my husband's way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. Is he sick or isn't he?
He's in the barn. You go see him. I got work to do.
That woman could fair drive me crazy, man.
Maybe that's what happened to Pitcher, Doc.
Mm-hmm. Between the two of them, it's a wonder the boys meet out at all.
Yeah, Jerry seems okay.
If they have their way, they'll make a spook out of him yet.
You know, you're not very charitable, Doc.
Oh, charitable. You don't fool me, Mad Dillon. You don't like them any better than I do.
I always try to look for the good side in people, Doc.
Oh, sure, hogwash. Well, pretty good barn he's got here.
Yeah. Look, I'll go in first, huh?
What's that?
You follow me. Pitcher. Hey, Pitcher.
I'm back here.
Come on, Doc.
Over here in this stall. I thought it was Doc.
He's here, Pitcher.
What are you doing in there with that cow? I thought you were sick.
It ain't me that's sick.
Well, who is sick?
A cow.
What?
If a cow's got the colic or something, I've done everything I can for her.
You mean you had me come all this way out here, to doctor a cow?
I wouldn't let you doctor no human.
I thought there was something wrong about all this.
Cows different. I don't mind so much you working on a cow.
Oh, you don't?
No, cows are different. Humans can get well by themselves, but cows is helpless. They're kind of pitiful. Listen to her. She's hurting bad, Doc.
I ought to kick you right in the head, Ben Pritchard.
Don't take it out on me that you doctors don't know nothing. If you're so smart, do something for my cow. Before she dies, Doc.
Oh, all right. I'll look at it. But you sure don't deserve it, Ben.
You ain't doing it for me.
You bet I'm not. Now get out of the way and let me in there.
Take your time, Doc. I'm in no hurry.
What's he doing in there all this time, Marshal?
Leave him be, Ben. He'll let us know if he wants any help.
How's my cow, Doc? Oh, I guess he's through.
Here's your knife, Ben.
Did you stick her with it?
I did, and she's going to feel a lot better. You can give her all the water she wants, but don't let her eat anything for a day or two.
She gonna live?
I don't know, Ben.
If she dies, I ain't gonna pay you.
I wouldn't take any money from you anyway.
What's wrong with my money?
It's not your money. It's you.
What do you mean?
Hey, Pa, I'm back. I got all the stuff Ma wanted.
You'd better, Rolf.
Oh, Doc, Marshal.
Jerry?
Say, Doc, you missed all the excitement.
That's it?
Yeah, it happened just after you left. Everybody was running around looking for you.
What happened, Jerry?
Old Mrs. Hill, she was walking down the street, and I guess the sun was too much for her or something. Anyway, she fainted, and she fell against the window right there at the general store, and it cut her arm real bad. Nobody could get it stopped bleeding.
They couldn't.
That's why they were looking for you, Doc. I told them you'd come out here, but they wouldn't believe
Well,
me.
what happened to Mrs. Hill, Jerry?
She died, Doc.
Huh?
Just before I left.
She died? Did you hear that picture? A woman died. If I'd been there, I could have saved her, but she died.
Don't talk at me.
She died because of you and your rotten, twisted ways.
None of you doctors is any good. You couldn't have done nothing.
Oh, no good. Well, I'll show you.
No, wait a minute, Doc.
Here now.
I'll show you.
Nobody hits me.
But Pa's got a knife.
No, Pitcher, put it down.
Oh, he cut him.
Pitcher! Here, Doc. I got you.
Killer, he ripped me with a knife, Matt.
Yeah. You hurt bad?
Well, it's bleeding. I can see that. You help me in the house. Now, we can look at it there.
Yeah, sure, Doc.
What about Pa?
You let me know when he comes to. I'll come back and knock him out again. Well, it's pretty clean now, Doc.
Well. Oh, dear. That looks better.
Yeah, but it's still bleeding now.
I don't care for that mess you're making on that bed, Marshal.
Go get me another pan of hot water.
You ordering me around my own house?
You do it!
Matt.
All right.
Yeah, Doc.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that knife ruptured anything.
Oh, that's good.
But a couple of those veins have to be tied off, and then it's got to be sewed up, you see.
Oh?
There are needles and thread in my bag. Now, I'd do it myself, but I can't reach it easy enough.
What? You mean you want me to do it?
Yeah. I'll tell you how, Matt.
Or you think I can?
Oh, it's easy. Especially for a gunfighter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I can bleed to death this way.
I won't have any trouble, Doc. Here, you hold the cloth on it, huh?
I got it.
I'll go get your bag.
Marshal,
Get out of here, Pitcher.
you hit me awful hard.
Did I?
He jumped me first. You saw him. I was protecting myself.
Pitcher, if Doc doesn't come out of this all right, I'm going to quit being a marshal, and I'm going to come after you as a plain man looking for revenge.
You're threatening me.
It's wrong of me, but I'm going to kill you, Pitcher.
Now.
Get out of here. And stay out of this house. Go on.
I'm going. I'm going.
It wasn't easy, and I felt like I had fence posts for fingers. But I finally got Doc sewed up. He'd lost an awful lot of blood, and he passed out before I finished. So all I could do was sit there and watch him. And maybe that was the hardest part. In the morning, however, he seemed better, and he insisted that I take him into Dodge. So I made him a bed in Pitcher's wagon and had Jerry drive the buggy alongside. He was in bad shape by the time we reached town, but I got him into his own bed and then sent for Kitty to help me out. I don't know what I'd have done without her for that next week.
Matt,
Yeah, Kitty, I'm coming.
you know what he wants now?
Oh, what?
He's tired of drinking plain water. He says if we don't start cutting it with some good corn, he won't drink any more.
Well, then let him go thirsty. He won't hold out long.
No public servant's gonna tell me what's good for him. You send that lawman down for some whiskey.
Doc, now we've gone to a lot of trouble to keep you alive.
We sure have.
Oh, don't you worry about me. I'd get out of bed right now. I like being waited on.
Now, who's that?
Oh, that's a dumb question. Who's that? How do I know? Go look.
Doc, I never thought anything could make you any ornerier than you've always been, but getting stabbed, did it?
Oh, never mind the gab. Just answer the door.
Well, come on in.
Oh, what manners.
Come on in, I said.
Oh, good heavens, man.
Well, go ahead, Doc. Fire me.
Doc? Doc.
In here.
Well, it's Jerry. Yeah, come on in, son.
Oh, Doc. Marshal.
Now, what are you doing in town, Jerry?
I come for Doc.
What?
Paul's sick. He's about to die. He's so sick.
Oh, now look,
It's
Jerry.
the truth, Marshal. Paul made me lie last time, but he don't even know I'm here now.
He doesn't know you're here.
He's too sick, Doc. It's like he's out of his head. He don't know nothing.
What about your ma? Does she know you're here?
I didn't tell her. She'd have stopped me. Doc?
Jerry, your pa tried to kill Doc the last time, and he's still in bed. Now, he can't go anyplace.
Please, Doc.
Why should he risk his life for your pa?
Wait a minute, Matt. Now, just wait a minute here. I'll come, Jerry.
Now, don't be silly.
I'm a doctor, Matt. A man's dying. Doesn't matter what man.
I knew you'd come. I knew you
You're
would.
crazy, Doc. You'll open that cut riding out there. Besides, you're not strong enough.
You'd be taking an awful chance,
Jerry?
Huh?
What?
How'd you come to town?
I figured you'd need it, so I brought the wagon.
I thought so. Well, you gonna help me out, man?
All right. I'll help you out, Doc. I wish you'd let me carry you, Doc.
No. I'll make it.
He's awful weak, ain't he?
Yeah, he is.
Here, I'll get the door. Come on in. Ma's probably in the bedroom. It's over this way.
We know where it is, Jerry.
Oh, I forgot.
That you, Jerry?
It's me, Ma.
Where you been? Doc, what are you doing here?
Jerry came after me, Mrs. Pitcher.
We don't want no doctors.
Your husband's sick?
He's terrible sick. But you can't do him no good.
Yeah, I can try.
Jerry, I'm gonna whoop you.
No, Miss Pitcher. No, you're not.
Don't you tell me what I'm gonna do, Marshal.
Look at Doc, Miss Pitcher. You can tell he shouldn't be here at all, but he came. He came to help a man who tried to kill him. And nobody's going to stop him. Now, come on, Doc. Get out of the way, Ms. Pitcher. Wait a minute, I'll get you a chair, Doc.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Now, here you are.
Yeah, he looks pretty sick.
May 28, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just going to take a minute here to tell you about the big savings going on now, the clearance sale at mypillow.com. And you know, I've talked about how in my office I have a pair of my slippers, and they're really comfortable, and they're on clearance right now. The mypillow.com slippers, $25 a pair, limit 10. And I would buy 3 or 4 more pairs. Unfortunately, they're out of my size. They also have sheets, pillowcases, clothing items, all on special right now. Go to mypillow.com, click on the clearance tab at the top of the page, use my promo code Wyatt, or call 1-800-928-4715. Limited sizes remaining in the MyPillow slippers, limited colors on other items. mypillow.com, clearance tab, promo code Wyatt, 1-800-928-4715. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, now the conclusion of Gunsmoke, May 28, 1955.
Marshal! Go on me, Jerry!
Now what?
She's got a gun, Marshal!
Let go of me, I said!
I got her, Jerry.
I'll kill you. You and Doc both.
Give me that.
No!
There. Now you sit down. Go on. Jerry, you go see if Doc needs any help, huh?
Okay, Marshal.
You know, Miss Pitcher, you don't deserve Doc being here. You don't deserve it at all.
Marshal,
Yeah, what?
I've been thinking. All night I've been sitting here thinking.
No?
I don't want my husband to die. I can't have him die.
Doc's doing everything he can for him, Miss Pitcher.
Can he save him? You think he can save him?
I don't know.
Well, Mrs. Pitcher,
How is he, Doc?
well, he's past the worst. I think he'll be all right.
Can I see him? Can he talk?
Yes, but not for long. He needs a lot of rest now.
Well, speaking of rest, Doc, you look like you could use something, too.
Yeah, we're going back to Dodge, man. Oh, I'll sleep the whole way.
Good.
Doc? He wants to talk to you.
What is it, Pitcher?
Ma says you was here all night.
I was, yes.
She says you saved my life.
Yeah, maybe I helped her.
Maybe. But what I want to say is that I ain't gonna pay you.
I didn't ask you to, Pitcher.
Pitcher, Doc saved your life.
Maybe he did. But I ain't gonna pay him.
It doesn't matter, but why not?
'Cause my cow died.
No, but... Pitcher, I'm gonna...
Matt. Don't bother. Come on, let's go.
Okay, Doc.
Doc,
Yes?
he means what he says, Doc. I can't change him.
It's all right, ma'am.
I can't change him, but there's something I gotta say.
Yes?
I'm proud to have you in my house, Doc. I'm real proud. I can't say no more.
Well, Doc?
I've been paid, Matt. I think I've been paid pretty good.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Our story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Sound patterns by Tom Hanley and Bill James. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Vivi Janis, and Sam Edwards. Harley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty.
Yeah, sometimes the best pay is just acknowledgement of a job well done. May 28, 1955, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now another episode of Lum and Abner, thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com. This episode, Lum's back in town, finally. This episode from May 28th, 1935. Well, you know, maybe Chester needed an extra day off.
Howdy, everybody. Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner. Brought to you by the makers of Horlicks, the original malted milk. Before we go down to Pine Ridge, I'm going to help solve a problem that many mothers are constantly faced with. If your youngsters don't like milk, or if milk doesn't agree with them, try giving them Horlicks, the original malted milk. Horlicks has many advantages over ordinary milk. Youngsters like it. You'll never have any trouble getting them to drink their Horlicks, whether you give it to them for breakfast, between meals, or just before going to bed. Then Horlicks is so digestible. Young and delicate digestive systems can easily and safely handle it. That's why so many medical and child feeding authorities have always recommended Horlicks. Keep this in mind the next time your youngsters complain about taking their milk. Give them Horlicks. You can get a package, you know, from your druggist in either natural or chocolate flavor. Children like both flavors. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Well, the disappointment over the fact that nobody put in an appearance at the unveiling of the statue Lum planned to present to the citizens of Pine Ridge was evidently more than the old fellow could stand. He left the store that afternoon and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Searching parties have been sent out, the mill pond is being dragged, and reports have been pouring in from all sections, and yet there is no definite word as to his present whereabouts. As we look in on Pine Ridge today, we find Abner and Grandpappy Spears down at the Jot 'em Down store. Abner is answering the telephone. Listen.
Yeah, this is him. Huh? He is? Well, for the land's sake. When did he get in? Well, Well, I do know.
What is it, Abner? What is
Well, tell him to get on over here. I just can't wait to see him, hardly. All right. well, much obliged for calling, Dick. Yeah, that's sure is a relief off of my mind. And all right. Goodbye. I dog his grandpap Lum's back.
Yeah, I allowed he was. I heard you talking. When did he get in?
Just a while ago, Dick said he come out on a mail hack.
Well, where in the world has he been all this time?
Why, Dick never said, and I never thought to ask him. Said he's coming right on over here, though.
Well, I'm sure proud to hear he's back.
Me too.
I'd about give up all hopes of ever seeing Lum again.
Yeah, well, sir, I just can't hardly believe it so. I've just worried so much over it.
Well, we ought to go down and tell the boys to quit dragging the mill pond.
Yeah, they're just wasting their time. He ain't in that mill pond now, I know.
No.
I'll send Cedric over there to tell him. I don't want to leave a store here till Lum gets here. Cedric!
Yeah, Cedric can stack that feed some other time.
Come here a minute, Cedric. We ought to telephone the sheriff, too, and let him know we found him, or somebody did.
Did you call me Mr. Abner?
Yeah, Cedric. Lum's here.
Well, hello, Miss... Well, where?
Well, he ain't here yet, but he's in town. He's been found.
Was he in the mill pond like they thought he was?
No, he's down at Dick Hutterson's store.
Well, I swan to goodness. Looks like Mr. Dick would have saw him down there, don't it?
Oh, well, they never found him down there, Cedric.
Well, how they know he's there, then?
Why, Dick just now called up and said he was there. He come in on the mail hack a while ago.
Yeah, he ain't been here all the time, Cedric. He just got in town a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and I want you to go over to the mill pond, Cedric, and tell Ezra Seastrunk and that bunch over there to quit looking for him, 'cause he's found now.
Yes, Mom. Well, I'll tell them, but I know they're going to be mad when they find out they've been dragging that pond over there for nothing.
Well, now, hurry up and get on over and tell them, for the longer they look, the madder they'll get.
Yes, Mom, I'll tell them.
Well, doggone, I hadn't thought about that. That bunch is going to be aggravated at Lum, putting them to all that bother.
Yeah, it's going to make Ezra Seastrunk look awful foolish, for he's the one that was so sure that that's where they'd find him at.
Yeah, he sure was. Now, Grandpap, we want to be sure now and not make no mention of that unveiling ceremony to Lum. Let's just try our best to make him forget about it if we can.
Yeah, that's the thing to do. Yeah, he'll get over it in time.
Well, I don't know, Grandpap. I'm just afeard that Lum will never be the same. He's going to feel like everybody in the community's down on him, 'cause nobody never showed up for the ceremonies the other day.
Yeah. Somebody ought to tell him it was Mose Moot's fault for telling everybody that the thing had been called off that way.
Yeah, well, I'll tell him one of these days, but don't want to tell him now, for we've got to cheer him up if we can.
Yeah.
Try to get him to take an interest in the business here again.
Well, I'm feared, Abner, Lum will never do that, though. I know Lum too well. He's more than likely done give up. Just lost his ambition.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm scared of too, Grandpap. He's all that worked so hard, you know, trying to make a name for himself. I'm just afeard now that he'll just turn out like Luke Spears.
Like Luke Spears?
Yes, sir, I'm just afeard he will.
Well, I hope not. That's the laziest mortal that ever drawed breath. I know Luke Spears is.
Yeah, he is now. But he weren't till he tried to join the army during the war. He left out of here and they give farewell parties for him and just made a regular hero out of him.
Yeah.
And it weren't a week till he come back, turned down on account of having flat feet.
Yeah, I recollect him coming back disappointed. Nobody speaking to him hardly.
Oh, he was all tore up over it, yeah. And he said then that if he weren't fitting to fight, he weren't fitting to work. Said he'd never turn another hand. And he ain't. Just set, that's all.
Yeah, oh, his woman's had to make a living for him ever since.
Why, sure she has.
She hadn't opened up that restaurant down there, he'd have starved himself to death. All he does is sit up there and play checkers and swat flies.
Yeah. All he does about the business is just let her use his name for it. Luke Spears' lunchroom, that's all he does.
Well, sir, I'd hate to see Lum give up like Luke done. When a man loses his ambition, Abner, he's a goner.
Yeah, he is. And it looks like a shame that it had to happen right at this time, too. For Lum was talking just the other day about getting into some new business. Wanting to invest that money me and him's got in the bank. Get into something else, he said, make millionaires out of it.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, maybe you can talk him into it yet, Abner.
Well, I just wished I could get him interested in something. You know, worst trouble with Lum, Grandpap, he ain't like me and you. He ain't got no family to encourage him none when he gets low in spirits this way.
Yeah, there's the trouble right there. Yes, sir. He needs a good woman. Somebody dependence on him. Give him some responsibilities.
Yeah, he does that. I just wish that him and Everlene'd get married.
Well, I don't believe they'll ever do it, Abner.
Why, they're just plumb in love with one another, you can tell that.
I thought sure her and him would get spliced a while back there when her and Frank Foster broke up, but it don't look like it's any closer to a match now than it ever was.
No. And she'd marry him in a minute if he'd just pop the question. But I just don't believe that he's got nerve enough to ask her.
No.
Lum's always talking, making his brags about what a great ladies' man he is.
Yeah.
But when he gets around them, why, he don't know what to do with himself. Stand there on one foot and look down at the floor and loll his tongue against his cheek and giggle. That's all he does.
Yeah, he's the bashfulest fella I believe I ever seen.
Worst I ever seen.
Just like overgrown boy.
Yeah, he sure is.
Every time a woman speaks to him, his neck and ears gets as red as fire. You ever notice it? Then he starts pulling on his mustache. All
Yeah, he does.
I wish he'd hurry up. I'm curious to find out where he's been at all this time.
Well, he ain't been far. Being the sheriff went over to his house yesterday evening, and his clothes and valise was still there, so I know he never went far.
Well, if he'd have been every place we've had reports of folks seeing him, he'd have covered half of this part of the county by now.
Oh, Lord, that telephone rung over at my place all night long, folks saying that they'd saw him.
Yeah, well, you had no more than hung up a receiver yesterday after you made that telephone call on the party line there till they started calling down here.
Yeah.
Looked like there for a while that me and you was about the only ones in town that hadn't saw him.
Yeah, well, of course, they was all trying to help Grandpa. Oh, wait a minute. There he comes, him and Dick Huddleston.
Yeah, that's old Lum, just sure as were.
Well, he ain't changed a mind, has he? Looks just the same.
Well, I'm proud Dick come over with him, too, Abner. He can sort of help us cheer him up.
Yeah, well, we ought to call the folks on the party line, too, and let them all know he's got back all right.
Yeah, we ought to do that after a while, Abner. There's lots of folks still uneasy about it.
Well, come in here, Lum Abner.
Howdy, Lum, howdy.
Swan, I never was so proud to see anybody my whole life.
Gentlemen, howdy.
And dogged if you never pulled a fine stunt. How are you? Where have you been?
Well, sir, I've been on a little trip, Abner. Glad to see you. Shake your hand, too, Grandpap. Glad to see both of you.
You say you've been on a trip?
Yeah, Lum was just telling me he's been to Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Well, why in the world didn't you tell somebody where you was going? Had us all worried to death around here. Had us dragging the mill pond for you and sent out searching parties. Had the sheriff out here yesterday evening, and he's got his whole force of working around trying to locate where you're at, Lum. We just knowed something bad had happened.
Well, I do know.
Yeah, Abner here was worried to death over it, Lum.
Yeah, they folks calling down here every few minutes telling us that they'd saw you somewhere.
Yeah, we get a call from somebody say they'd seen you over about Cherry Hill, and about the time we hung up a receiver, somebody 20 miles the other direction say they just saw you go by there.
They sure done it.
Yeah, that's the way it always is.
Well, to be right honest, I never knowed that was where I was going myself till I got there. I left out of here the other day. Felt so tore up over that unveiling ceremony, I just decided I'd walk off and leave Pine Ridge and not never come back.
Well, for the land's sake.
But I got up there and got to thinking things over, and I don't know. There I was, running away just like a coward, just 'cause nobody come out to see me present the statuary myself to 'em. So I just decided right then to come back here and make such a success of myself that folks here in Pine Ridge would be crawling around on their hands and knees begging me to let 'em put up a statuary
Well,
myself.
now, that's a time. That's the way I love to hear you talk.
Good for you.
Well, that's just what I told him, too. You did the right thing by coming back, Lum. We're all glad to have you.
Well, thank you, Dick. It's nice of you to say that.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad I went, and I'm glad to be back. Grannies, I've got an idea now that I never would have had if I hadn't took this trip.
Got an idea?
Yes, sir. Me and you's going into a new business, Abner.
A new business?
We're starting tomorrow, getting ready for it.
But you ain't aiming on getting shut of the store here, are you?
Oh, no. This won't interfere with the store business at all.
Well, good.
This is a business that Pine Ridge has been needing for a long time.
Well, what is it? For goodness sakes, what is it, Lum?
We're going into the picture show business.
Huh?
Me and you is going to open up a picture show right here in Pine Ridge. Grannies, I'll show 'em.
From King of the Hogs to Czar of the Movies. Did you hear about the recent test in Chicago of the Horlick weight control plan? It proved conclusively the effectiveness and safety of the plan. The majority of the women taking part in the test actually lost on an average 3 pounds and 4 ounces in only 10 days, and all felt fine at the end of the test. Try this plan yourself, exactly as these women tried it. It consists very simply of substituting a glass of Horlick's malted milk for a heavy, hard-to-digest lunch. That's all there is to it. The plan is effective because it helps you cut down on the calories. And it's safe because Horlicks is well balanced in elements essential for growth and health. It's nourishing, sustaining, energy-giving. All you need to start the plan is a package of Horlicks malted milk. This you can get at any druggist's in either natural or chocolate flavor. This is Carlton Brickert speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
And I want to say, number one, those old commercials, don't give any reliance to them, especially since Horlicks is no longer available in the U.S. except as an import from England. And the formula has changed. Okay. Lum and Abner, May 28, 1935. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for these fully restored episodes of Lum and Abner. A reminder, our webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me, find our social media links, and if you'd be so inclined, you can buy me a copy. The Buy Me a Coffee money allows us to acquire additional classic radio collections and also helps us maintain our distribution channels. That's at classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.